In Thursday's video, you'll recall that I mentioned Mercury would be going through the 21st degree Friday the 22nd, thereby opposing his moon and triggering the big Neptune transit in the sky, which would be likely to be negative for Donald Trump based on both the things he might say as well as what might come out that would be unfavorable. As far as what he did or what he said, we have the fact that on a prior day he had made a big deal out of the mail-in voting, and Chris Wallace of Fox News, his own favorite channel, rebuked him for it. And then separately he took it upon himself on Friday the 22nd to demand that places of worship open immediately, and that if they didn't, he would override the governors, which he can't. It's not the first time he's done this. He'll assign powers to himself that he doesn't have. Neither of those are particularly favorable, but it's part of a pattern. Trump is trying everything to see if he can get some traction in a situation which is obviously downtrending badly, as you can see from polling that came out from Fox News, his station. So you can't say this was some kind of Democratic ploy, like he always says about every other poll. And you can see that he has a 7-point lead among men, but he's losing women by 20 points. And so he's way behind in the overall tally. This number with men is not unusual. Obama lost to Romney in 2012 by 7 points. And similarly, Obama had a big lead with women, which is pretty much starting to point to the fact that women are generally more sensible than men. Who would do a better job handling the various areas? And on the economy, Trump has a 3-point lead, although I strongly suspect that as we move forward into the summer and into the fall, Biden will not only catch up, but he's going to eventually be ahead on the economy as well, because the economy is very unlikely to rebound to any degree. Pretty much the rest of this year. You can see that on the rest: relations with China, the coronavirus, of course, healthcare and women's rights. Biden is way ahead. It is especially dangerous for Trump on the healthcare issue, because you'll recall that Republicans were thrashed in the 2018 election on this very topic, and that's unlikely to change. Trump says all kinds of things, but behind the scenes, his administration is constantly trying to eradicate the Affordable Care Act. And on women's rights, it's a total runaway train there. You can see that one aspect of the poll covered independents and voters ages 65 and over, and you can see that Biden is ahead of him 13 points among independents, 17 points over 65, two demographics that he won in 2016 against Hillary Clinton. So these numbers are basically absolutely awful, and yes, you have to hope that Trump can turn them around by election time. Can he do that? And the answer is no, he can't. And never mind the fact that, as I was saying yesterday, the landscape in May, June, July is pretty tricky because of all these planetary cycles that are working against him. But looking at the election scenario, we go into here, November, and it's even worse. The lead up isn't so good, and the timing around the election is absolutely awful. And all of this points to his demise. I think the greatest danger is not that Trump is going to win. He's not going to win. The problem is the damage he may do between now and then, because consider the fact that we're dealing with something now that is very serious, that is affecting people's lives. And so reckless policies like asking for the premature openings of things, and inciting or encouraging people to gather together when they shouldn't, can cost them their lives. So let's pray that we can manage the devastation that this man can bring upon us as he desperately tries to get himself reelected